Hey, what is going on, everybody? James here with Heavyweight Politics, and it has finally happened. Andrew Cuomo has officially resigned as governor and will be stepping down apparently in the next couple weeks. Now, it is kind of funny that he turned in a 2 week notice, right? Like he's only doing he says in 2 weeks he'll step down. I don't know why he needs 2 weeks before he steps down. That seems kind of weird to me, but hey, as long as he steps down, fantastic. It's good that Andrew Cuomo is finally going to resign as governor of New York. However, why exactly did he resign? Did he resign because he did a terrible job with COVID? Nah, we're just going to ignore that one, right? Did he resign because he violated people's First Amendment rights and said you couldn't go to church, you couldn't worship freely? No, we're not. We're just going to ignore that. Did he resign because he murdered thousands, and I don't say murdered, thousands of senior citizens in his state by sending COVID-infected patients who are my age to nursing homes, in turn spreading it to the most vulnerable of the population? No, none of that. No. Instead, he's resigning because apparently he groped some women as governor. Now, do not get me wrong. That in itself is, I say, enough to kick him out, right? I mean, let's face it, we don't, sexual abuse, awful. Absolutely awful. Now, is it as awful as murdering thousands of old people? Come on, right? It's not even remotely close. Yet, what does the media always want to talk about? They don't want to talk about how terrible of a job that Cuomo did as governor when it came to COVID, because they still hold him up as a great example. You see people on Twitter all the time right now, right, saying, well, you know what, I still support my governor. What a great governor he was. He helped us through this crisis, even though his state is number 2 for, amount of deaths in the entire country per 100,000 people. So even when you adjust for population, New York is number 2 for the most deaths per 100,000 people in the country. Just an insane number. Yet there are still people running to his defense even now that he's done all these horrible things. Even now it's come out about his whole Me Too allegations that are happening with him. There's still people sitting there trying to defend this man, and it's bizarre. It is really bizarre. But it's even more bizarre is that we aren't talking about the deaths. We aren't talking about his violating the Constitution. We're not talking about any of the things he did during COVID that destroyed his state. We're talking apparently about the fact he groped some women. That's what the conversation has only been about when it comes to anything in the mainstream media. I mean, really, turn on CNN, turn on MSNBC, and what do you hear? It's always about, sexual harassment claims, sexual harassment claims, sexual harassment claims. What about all the people who he murdered? What about all the businesses that are now permanently shut down? All right, I'll put it this way. I was in New York, earlier this year. Everything was shut down. One of my favorite restaurants there fully closed down. Right, it was kind of like a mom and pop owned place over in the Bronx. It's completely shut down. They will not be reopening. And there are tons of people like that. When I was hiring people in New York, I was really hiring people who were making 6 figures a year prior to lockdowns, who were just begging for a job at this point. Right? They were living in a homeless shelter when they were at one point making nearly 6 figures a year, sometimes more. That was the stuff I was seeing when I was in New York. And we're not allowed to apparently talk about that. We're not allowed to talk about apparently what Cuomo did during these lockdowns and how destructive they were to the businesses and to the people around that area. Instead, we got to talk about him touching people inappropriately. Now, admittedly, it has led to me one of the funniest defenses I've ever seen when it comes to sexual harassment allegations. His defense over him touching women inappropriately was, "Oh, I do that to everybody. I do that whether you're black or white, gay or straight, man or woman." He's just showing pictures of him just touching all these people. It is absolutely hysterical of a defense. Your defense is like, well, no, I didn't harass that person because I do that to everybody. No, that means you harass everyone, I would say. But it's funny because also they're still making these allegations out to be that all he did was touch their face or kiss them on the cheek, when the reality is some of these allegations are awful. I'm talking just horrible things that I can't even say on YouTube, right? Just real heavy allegations of him forcing women in different ways, right? Let's put it that way, right? To keep it a little PG over here. But the point is, he's done some awful, awful things. And it's somewhat entertaining that this is what's going to get him. The Me Too movement is going to get him. Not the thousands of people that were murdered by him, the Me Too movement. And what I have to wonder now is what's going to happen to all those families, who lost a loved one because of his, not negligence. It wasn't negligent to send COVID, positive people to old folks' homes. That's straight malice. There is no way you could say, well, I didn't really know what was done. You have no excuse for that one. Zero, especially when you didn't use the ships like the Mercy that Trump sent in for your people, right? He didn't use the medical ships that were sent in to help him. Instead, he just pushed them all to nursing homes. Absolutely horrendous stuff. And in my opinion, probably to jack up the numbers on the deaths so they could get more funding. Because they did use, don't forget, it wasn't that long ago when they said, COVID hit us so bad and hurt us so bad that we need a bailout from the federal government. That is what they were asking for when a lot of this was still at its peak, is they wanted a bailout from the government. To me, it seems like he might want to jack up his numbers so he could make a better case for why they needed the bailout. We've had this many deaths. Of course we need more money to be able to keep up infrastructure and everything else going on here. We have to make sure we get everything straight. We're not going to talk about it. No one's going to ever acknowledge it. It's not going to have anything done about it. Instead, he'll always be remembered as the mayor who just groped a couple people, or the governor who groped a couple people. And let's be honest, that's going to fall by the wayside. People are going to forget about it. They really are. But the question remains, what's going to happen with these families who lost loved ones because of his malice, right? What's going to happen to these families? Are they going to try to still go after him, or can they not go after him now that he's no longer governor? I don't really know. Either way, it'll be interesting to see kind of how this all plays out. Again, he's got 2 weeks before he resigns, so I guess we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Either way, what do you think? Leave a comment below. Should we just be happy he's gone, or should we keep pressing this issue about all the people who he murdered in New York City? And part of me just kind of going, what? Fine, he's gone. Let's leave it be. Let's move on. But there's another part of me saying, man, this guy's gotta be in jail. This guy's gotta be in jail. Leave a comment below though, see what you think. As well as if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you again real soon.